Hello, my name is Julio Rodriguez. Today, we're going to look into an investigation of educational student services, reputation, and internal stakeholders. This study was done with my colleagues Caitlin Kirschbaum and Dr. Paul Zeek in the Department of Media Communications and Visual Arts at Pace University in New York. This study investigates how reputation can be used to develop internal communication. The purpose of the current study is to examine how measurements of educational institutional reputation can act as a foundation for models of communication. Communication models help management with the standard processes of education to attract new students, alumni, or donors. This is a mixed method study where both survey data and content analysis of news coverage was used to determine the reputation of the Department of Student Accounts at a mid-sized university in the Northeast. The results indicate that the department had the communication issue related to how stakeholders perceive the department, not how the department handled the stakeholder requests and problems. Stakeholders were satisfied with how their questions and issues were handled, yet they communicated back negative views and inferences about the department. These results were then used to develop a long-term communication management plan that focused on problems of perception. The implication of this study is that it speaks to how reputation can be used as a foundation for models of communication management in education. Over the past 2 decades, the landscape of higher education has been shaped tremendously by the concept of reputation. Reputation plays a significant role in positioning the institution with prospective students, alumni, foundations, and donors. More focus is needed on the internal stakeholders of the institution. Most reputation studies focus on external stakeholders, so there's very little research on how measurements of reputation help management with routing processes, such as the communication between departments and internal stakeholders. More focus is also needed on how measurements of reputation can help with routine processes. Over the past several decades, reputation has been linked to almost every aspect of education, including overall revenue. However, most studies are predominantly based on linking reputation to the choice of school made by undergraduates. And more focus is needed on the relationship between reputation and communication. For this study, we wanted to determine the reputation of the Department of Student Accounts at a mid-sized university in the Northeast. The Department of Student Accounts has seen very significant changes over the past 2 years. After making significant changes in its processes in 2010 and 2011, the department began to see the reduction in the number of help desk tickets and the response time of open requests. Again, this was a mixed method study where both a survey and content analysis of media coverage was used to determine the reputation of the department as it stands with internal and closely related stakeholders. The survey was delivered via email and consisted of 10 questions and open comment sections. The questions were 4-point Likert type scales: not satisfied, satisfied, neutral, and very satisfied, all of which were based on uncovering how stakeholders perceive the department. For instance, question 3 asked, in thinking about your interactions with the department over the past year, please rate the following based on your experience with the person with which you most often interacted. And question 7 asked, how would you rate your experience with the department over the past year? At the end of each question, respondents had the opportunity to write in comments about the department. In total, there were 589 respondents. 67% were students, 22% were staff, and 10% were faculty. The remainder identified themselves as former students. A content analysis of media coverage was also done. Specifically, all of the articles written about the department from 2001 to 2011. They were collected and analyzed. In total, the department was the focus of 142 articles over the span of 10 years. The coding scheme was simple. 2 coders read each story to determine if stakeholders' perceptions of the department were either positive or negative. The two coders made frequent comparisons so that the reliability was maintained. Despite an administrative restructuring and tremendous effort to improve procedures, the negative reputation of the department remained. Even with the improvement in department operations, campus groups still widely viewed the department in a negative light. What this meant is that the department had a communication problem. Communication is the missing element. There was no communication to inform stakeholders of the dramatic changes in its behavior and performance. Stakeholders were not aware of the operational changes and thus maintained the same negative perception. In other words, stakeholder messages were not about the enhancements, but the residual negative connotation about the department. Now, according to Llewellyn, existing studies of reputation suffer from the problem of usefulness, which is that they do not clearly describe how or why to use the concept. Although the answer to the problem of usefulness holds the most promise for managers and others who make decisions about business organizations, it is for Llewellyn the most troubling aspect associated with reputation. Measurements can act as a foundation for models of internal communication. The purpose of this study of reputation is clear. Decision makers are using the measure of reputation as a basis for communication management. Therefore, the study is useful in the way that it acts as a foundation for a department model to manage the internal perceptions of institutional quality. Leadership communication is of the utmost importance during internal organization change. It is widely accepted that communication is one of the ways that organizations can mitigate problems with reputation, because it allows organizations to represent themselves to various internal stakeholders. When stakeholders understand the organizational change, they will react in a way that they will see the changes and management in a positive light. I want to thank you for listening in on this study. For more information, visit my website at www.bit.ly/J Rodriguez-Rentas. Thanks so much.